So we're going to be creating these hoverable slide out buttons. And these are all links, but this is actually kind of a fun little effect, and it's not difficult to do at all. Okay? In fact, you don't need a whole lot of CSS and HTML to achieve this. So in your HTML, you're going to have to define a div and have a couple IDs in here. My side nav and side nav. And then you need to set up your links. In this case, these are not real links, but you could actually have them as links to other pages. Okay, and then whatever text you want displayed for the link. The CSS isn't too bad. We have my side navigation. Position is going to be absolute, and this is positioning them relative to the browser window. And then you need left at -80, and that is why they don't display, because you moved them to the left, -80, so they're half of the button is off the page. And then we've got a transition of 0.3. That is making them kind of slide on. We put some padding around the edges just to make them bigger. We set a width of 100, no underlining because these are links. We set a font size of 20, color of white, and we rounded the corners on the top right and the bottom right. If you look really closely, you'll notice that the corners on the top and bottom left are not rounded. Okay, and then we set a hover state for the link associated with the My Side Nav ID. And so the hover state is left 0. So meaning when we point, it goes to a left setting of 0. Remember, the left setting initially is -80. So it goes from -80 to 0, and that is how we get the slide. Okay, and then for the other IDs, this is just positioning from the top and setting a background color. Okay, because obviously these have to be positioned. That's absolute positioning. We are specifying exactly where we want these to display. So we are going to be adding those to a page. This page already has some animation in it. I thought you guys would find it fun. Hopefully you don't find it annoying. So we are going to save this. And then we're going to open it in our VS Code. And then I'm also going to open this in a browser because I want you to see the current animation. So that is what the current animation is doing. So hopefully you won't find that too annoying. I think it's kind of fun, but you know, I am kind of a nerdy computer teacher. So looking at our code, probably should change untitled to sliding navigation buttons. And we'll take a look here. So we've got the body, width and height of 400. We defined a circle, and that is for the existing navigation or the existing animation. We've got the circle with the width and height the same. We've got a right radius of 40. That's kind of giving us that look of a partial circle. And we've got transform origin set on that, and we have it set to float, which is why you get all those circles side by side. And then each one of these is just defining a circle and a color. Okay, and you'll notice that they are rotating. And if you look at the page, you'll notice that it changes color as it rotates, or it appears to. Each one of these is like a little quarter circle. And they're each rotating, and that is what this is specifying. Okay, and so then down here we get into the actual animation itself. And our current HTML is creating all of those lovely little quarter circles. So we aren't really going to concern ourselves with the circles. I thought they were cool. So I thought you might enjoy them. So what we are going to concern ourselves with are those sliding buttons, because that is what we need to create. So I've already kind of shown you the code for those. I'm going to pause the video and insert the code into the page. So I have added the HTML, which is basically I put it inside a div, and I've got an ID and a class. And then I've got links. And then inside the link is where I have the text that displays. And right now these are dummy links, so if you click on them, they don't do anything. But you can actually put in a real web page here in place of a dummy link, and then if you click on it, it does do something. Okay, I'm just going to leave it on the dummy links, but if you want to put in a real link, that's fine. So then we come up here to our CSS. So we've got my side nav, the link itself. This is formatting the buttons. So we've got position absolute. Again, it's -80, which is why it's not all displayed. That's kind of why it's half off the page. You've got it transitioning onto the page when you point. Okay, and right now we've got it set to 3 seconds. Here's where we're specifying that. So we're saying side nav A hover, change it to 0. Okay, so when we point, it goes from -80 to position 0 in 3 seconds. We specified padding. We just did 15 all the way around. So top, bottom, left, right, little padding in there. Width of 100, no underlining. Font size of 20, color of white, and we are rounding some of the edges, some of the corners, not all of them. We already said that this is what's making it go from -80 to 0. And then these are just positioning those buttons from the top. Okay, so because the position is absolute, it's assuming from the top of the page. Now, if you wanted them in the middle of the page, then you'd want to change that to relative. I mean, you could still use top settings, but relative would mean from the current location down, whereas absolute is taking it from the top down. So there's a little difference in positioning there. And then I specified some colors that kind of match our little rotating quarter circles. And that is all of your CSS. So we're going to save this. And then we're going to reload our page. And I actually love these sliding buttons. I think they're super fun. So that is sliding buttons. And like I said, these, if you click on them, they don't go anywhere. They're just kind of dummy buttons. But you can actually make them into real links. Like you can take that little pound out and put an actual page in there. Okay, so this was the last exercise that you needed to do for the textbook portion of the assignment. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is transfer everything that is in your Lesson 10 folder. So I would go here and transfer that entire folder and all of its contents. And then to actually check on the pages, because you're going to want to make sure that they look okay online. What you're going to want to do, especially for the ones that are in the folders, you're going to key in your NMC username, lesson 10. And then we had Acme Vertical. And we'll just start with home.html. Okay, and once you display one of the pages, then you can basically just click on the links to display the rest. Okay, and then we can modify that and put -ID. Make sure that looks okay. And then we can modify that and put in horizontal, assuming you spell it right. Okay, and then the other pages are not in folders. Okay, so there it is. And our last one, let's see, we called that animation fun. Okay, you should be able to pull all of them up online and double check them.